we are still talking about the logical function, and we are focusing on the text functions now. If you look at some of the data that you would get at some point, they will be disorganized, they will be dirty, they won't look neat enough for you to actually work with, and you are going to have to do some correction. This class is actually to help you figure out how to do these corrections faster and easily. I'm going to start with the trim. So if you look at this data, normally your names should start with capital letter and should not have capital letter in between. Look at what is happening here. And then you have excess spaces. It's not well organized, it's scattered. These are the functions that will actually help out in cases like this. So I'm going to start with trim. Of course, when you are dealing with formulas, don't forget your equal to sign comes first. Then what text do we want to trim? We close the brackets. Trim equal to, put the text, then enter. Can you see that it has removed all? It trims. When we say trim, we are just removing unnecessary spaces that are within that cell. So once you double click like this, you see it does the same thing with the formulas. It implements the formulas straight down with the remaining data set. Now for proper, let me explain to you what it really means. Your proper is just making the first letter a capital letter and the rest small letters. So this is it, proper, open bracket, what text, let's proper this one that we have trimmed, and then we open the bracket, and there you go, enter. Can you see that it now looks like the proper name that it should be? Double click here, and it puts everything inside the data set like it should be. The next thing we are looking at now is the upper. When I say upper, it just means that we are actually making everything a capital letter. We are making everything a capital letter. So as usual, equal to sign, upper, you open brackets. What text? Let's just use upper for this one that we have proper, and then we put it in brackets, enter. Can you see that James Walker, everything is now in your capital letter? Then lower is just the opposite of that. We are going to have everything in your small letter. Very easy and straightforward. That's it. Then do the usual thing to apply to the whole data set. Now, this len is just talking about the number of characters. How many um, number of characters do we have in that particular cell? When we are dealing with this, you have to have it at the back of your mind that it is actually going to count the spaces. It is adding a space as part of the character. So if I want to do this, I say equal to len, open brackets, and I pick this, for instance, either one of these. Let's say this, and close the bracket, enter. You see it's giving me 12. Let's count it together. James, from James, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11. So we have 11 letters, but that space, that one space in between them there, is what makes it 12. Like I said, you can also apply it to the rest of the data sets by double clicking on that box when you can see that it's already showing that plus sign. I hope this was explanatory enough. Now, I want to do another thing. So if you want to use trim and proper, there's actually a way you can do it together. Let me put for an example here. So equal to, when you want to use trim and proper together, have it at the back of your mind that you start with trim. Always start with trim. That is how it will work. You first trim it, you remove excess spaces that are there. What is the text that we want to trim? Hold on. This is where you now use proper. You open brackets, now you proper. When you use your proper, you open brackets again. What text do we actually want to do? So we are dealing with this first text, and then we are closing the bracket. If you close this bracket like this without closing it again, let me show you what will happen. We've closed this bracket, press enter. Can you see? It is giving an error message. So what you are supposed to do is you're supposed to come back here and close. We opened how many brackets? We've opened bracket for trim, just like we have been doing before. We open bracket for proper, we've just closed for proper, so you close for the trim. So it means we were supposed to have to close it with two brackets. When I press enter now, you see it's correct, and we are actually good to go. This is very um straightforward. Okay, so the reason why that is not working is because I actually just picked this from this. I did not put it immediately after the data set, but I just did this for emphasis sake. Now let's go back. That was just to explain something to you. Now if you look at all these things, for example here, you see that if we want to work with James Walker, it is actually going to be giving you errors, because if we copied it's showing formulas. It's not, you cannot edit it. It's showing formulas. Let me copy this for you and explain better. So I copy here. If I come here and I do Control V, let's say Control V to paste, can you see nothing is there? It's going to be blank. It's going to be blank. If I come here again and I copy, if I try to control paste, if I do this, if I do only paste here, it's still going to give me the same thing, because it's as good as using Control V. Now I'm going to come here and right click, and I am going to use this particular type of paste. This paste that is 1 2 3, it is showing only the facial value. It is showing only facial value. So you put it there. At the end of the day, you will notice James Walker is James Walker, and this Keyboard Underwood is Keyboard Underwood. So we can now say we want to edit it. So once you have used your formula to make your work faster and neater, this is what you should do to make it easy for you to actually work with in the real facial value. You right click, you paste, but you don't just paste anyhow. You paste values. I hope that is explanatory enough. I hope we have gained a lot from that particular segment. Now, there's something here. Since we are talking about functions that relate to text, I am going to still explain this corner for you, this part to you. So we have the first function, the left function. When you are using this left, let me say equal to left, you open bracket. Now it is saying text. Which text are we considering? I want to consider this text member, and then I'll of course put my comma. Number of characters. Now let me explain this to you. So how many characters do I want to count from the left? Let's assume I want to count just 3 characters from the left, and I close the bracket. This is what happens. Did you notice that it just counted 1 2 3 4? If I come back here and I edit this and I say, let's say I want 4, enter, you see it's showing mem and b. That it's and it will remove whatever figure number you want to start counting, whatever characters from the right. And this is the same thing for the left. I mean from the left, this is the same thing for the right. You open brackets, and of course we click on the text, comma. How many do we want? Let's say 5. Let's just randomly say 5. Did you see that it picked it? 1 2 3 4 5. 5 from the right. Now for mid, we are picking from the middle. When we say mid, it doesn't mean the exact middle of the word or anything. We are just saying anything in between the first and the last letter. So we are picking from the middle. We are, of course, we pick the text, and then comma. What is our starting number? Let's say we want to pick from number 2 to number 3. So starting number, position 3. Let's say we want position 3, and how many characters? Let's say we want 4 characters. Let's close the bracket and see what happens. Can you see that? So from this position 3, this is 1 2 3, which starts with M. 1 2 3 4, which is which you are seeing here. It's the same thing if you change any figure here. Let's assume we want to change this to let's start from the second position and enter. Can you see? It has changed, it has increased. It's that simple. Now this concatenate, we've done it before, but we are going to run through it since we are dealing with the functions that deal with text, or let me say the common functions, because Excel is way deeper than you can even imagine. But these are the functions, these are the ones that you would practically probably use on your day-to-day basis. After this, you can still go in and go in depth to the other things that are there that you can play with. But these are the most important ones that I know that you will find handy. We've clicked on the first word, comma, second word, and then comma, then the third word, and we'll close the bracket, enter. Can you see that? Society of Champions. I'm sure you must have noticed that it's not looking like it should, because there's no space between society, no space between of, and no space between champions. What do? We are going to come here. So when you are considering, concatenate and you need space, it is taking that space as a character and it is assuming that it is a word. So after society, comma, I am going to put your quotes, because you remember your quotation anytime you are dealing with words. You have to use your quotation mark, then space, and another quotation mark to close it up. Then you use your comma. Now let me navigate and go back to after that society. We've done the space for that, of, then space. So I'll put my first quotation mark, space, and then another quotation mark, then my comma, and press enter. There you go. You can see how it looks now. You see how it looks. So once I've finished doing my concatenate now and I want to work with this, I want it in such a way that I can edit. Remember what we just learned. You copy here and then you go somewhere else and paste value. That way you will ignore the formula beneath and just choose the value that is out there. I hope we understand. Very straightforward and very easy at that. Now for find, let's say equal to find, open bracket. What text are we going to look for here? Okay, I'm going to choose this small letter M, and there's a reason why, because I would like to explain the difference between find and search. So we have taken small letter M and we are looking for the text within where? Within member. Then we'll close the bracket and press enter. Can you see? It is telling us that the small letter M is in position 3. This is the difference I wanted to lay emphasis on. Your find is case sensitive. So when you are using find, it is case sensitive. You need to pay attention to this in case you are dealing with a lot of data and that particular information has different um case in it. It has uppercase and lowercase. You have to be sensitive to this. If you are using the find function, it is actually case sensitive. But if we are using search, let's try search now. Yeah. Search, then we open brackets. They said which text are we looking for? Don't forget your quotes. Now let's still look for the small one. Let's still look for it. And then we say comma, then text within where? Within here, and then we close it and press enter. Did you see that it was the same thing we did, but it is telling us position 1. Now it is telling us that the M is in position 1 because it is not case sensitive, so it just picked this first M. That is where it's seeing the first M, and that is why it is showing position 1. I hope that is clear enough for us to understand. Now we have replace. Okay, replace. So we are going to replace, open bracket. Okay, when we are replacing, it means we are taking a particular set, a word or a particular set of words, and we want to change it. The example I'm using here is member and membrane. We want to change this member to membrane. All right. So what is the text? The old text is, okay, this is the member. This is the old text that we are actually dealing with. You put your comma. Start number. Where do we want to replace this thing from? 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 is still correct. Now we want to start from 5, 6. So I'm going to put 5 as the start number and then comma. They say how many characters? So what we want to replace with is RANE, which happens to be 4 characters. 4 characters, then comma. Said what is the new text? So we are going to, of course, our quotation, don't forget every time, and then we'll close the bracket. We close the bracket, enter. Did you see that? Our member has become membrane. Our member has become membrane. Very easy, very straightforward. Now let's try the substitutes. Let's try substitute, open bracket. um Old text. What is the text? This is the text that we want to substitute. Okay, let's pick from here this time. Membrane. Let's change the B to F. Not that the word makes sense, but let's just do that for the sake of this example. So we are changing that B. All right, B. We are changing the B and then comma. To which text? We are changing it to F. For example, we are changing it to F, then we are closing the bracket, of course, and then we enter. Is membrane. That's actually interesting. It's not a word, but I'm sure you get the point. You get the difference between substitute, the replace, the left, right, mid, concatenate, find, search. Then, of course, you know how to use your trim, your proper, your upper, lower, and your learn. I hope and I pray that this class has been informative enough for you and educating. I hope to see you in the next class. Always remember, you practice. That's what makes you perfect. See you.